This morning I woke up, this is why I'm like a little out of it. I woke up at like 4 or 5 and I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? And I sat down and thought about it and I was like, because they were down last night after the close, like 10, 20%. And I was like, because it's a huge decision, because if you buy now, you can make 10 or 20% if they're gonna rally right back. You can say, the market shrugged off Jensen's comments. Big deal. So I sat there and I said, what do I do? It's a huge position for me. Do I cover? Do I press? Do I do nothing? And I don't know if this makes any sense, but this is the way I thought about it. I looked at, so my main position was IonQ. My second biggest position was Rigetti. Then I had like a little QUBT, a little QSI, and I looked at QSI, okay? And LAES, which I don't even know the name of the company. I looked at these guys and I was like, hold on a second. This chart was like, up to here or something. I forgot where it was. It was like over here. And I was like, if this stock has already retraced most of the parabola. So like a parabola is just a math equation. But basically, once you do this on Wall Street, like it's possible what happens, not on Wall Street, but in a stock chart. And I'm not a chart guy, but it's possible this is what happens, right? That's happened, right? But like, as you go down and down like this, you don't see usually this happen. And once you get down to like here, bro, it's over. Like you're almost certainly gonna do this or that. Especially if the volume was like really high here, that's like, oh. So like once the parabola started to be like, okay, we reached the top, and depending on the parabola, like these were even spikier. They were like this. It's like once you're down here, like nobody's buying this relief rally. Like there's no fundamentals. So, you have to take the fundamentals into context too. And I hate charts. You guys know that. I hate looking at charts. I almost never look at charts. But when I think about it, I'm just like, once the parabola starts, it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because what ends up happening is the people that bought up here, we have a name for them at this channel. The people that bought up here, down here, they feel really stupid. And they may either get margin called, some of them will buy more, some of them sell, some of them hold, but like ultimately it results in a self-propagating process that results in kind of a drop. And I know that's self-evident, but I guess the thing about it that was interesting to me was that IonQ, okay, was like at the time, this morning when I had to make my decision, IonQ is like this. And we all have seen stocks that have rallied like from there, right? We've all seen that. It happens all the time. You think you got the short, it has a small fade, and it just recovers and goes up even higher. In fact, that happened to us with Rigetti and other stocks, many other stocks. It almost happened to us with 𝗬𝗲, it happened with 𝗕𝗢𝗄𝗃. Like it's just what happens. But I said to myself, okay, that's true for IonQ, but if this other stock, QSI, has already done this, one of two things is going to happen. Either they all come back at once, or IonQ is just a laggard and it's going to drop the same way QSI is dropping. And I said, there's no way that QSI doesn't make widows out of everybody that bought it, because QSI is not even a quantum company. It's just a little company that has the word quantum in it. So if that stock's down and recovered most of its parabolic move up, then IonQ has to match it at some point. So anyway, that was my thinking when I came to that. Some of you this morning probably heard me on Godel saying, what's going to happen? Like, is this just something where we cover and like fight this stock for the next 6 months? Or is this something where it's over? And that's kind of the clue that helped me, this LAES. Look at LAES. I mean, it's like almost completely, the parabola topped at 11. It's at 4. I mean, that's a 60, 70% peak to trough in a few days. To me, it wasn't likely that this would recover. Although, we probably have seen it once or twice in the history of the markets, but it just doesn't seem like that was going to recover and IonQ would recover and all these other stocks would recover. It seemed more likely that IonQ would just come down as well. So that's how I made that decision. Again, 6 cents, maybe just random, who knows. I also have been increasingly bearish. There's a nice chart the other day, forward PE and returns. S&P returns, sort of a correlation between forward PE and S&P returns. It was on X. This is it. Wow, that worked actually really, really well. So this is I guess I should have retweeted it. So this is the current forward PE for the S&P 500 is somewhere like this, 23 23 times. And you can see the next 10 years, what the average returns are. They're 0 or negative. And the point I've been making for a while is if you have 2 back-to-back 25% up years back-to-back, what are you going to do? Have another 25% up year? Markets don't work that way. Stock markets don't work that way. They're never that good. The only time markets do really, really well is after a period of kind of a lull. And we just went up 50, 60%. Like, we can't keep going up. I mean, anything can happen, but it's a bit of a scary thing. And then I was also scared seeing the DJTs, the stuff happening in crypto with meme coins, the stuff happening with quantum, the stuff happening occasionally with biotech, AI, like SoundHound, that's not even AI, MicroStrategy, like all this stuff is bubble. Eventually, bubble has to burst. 2 more earnings calls and revenue and earnings don't grow. This is what happened with cannabis. The cannabis stocks, people got really excited about, oh, you don't understand, Martin. This is going to be like tobacco. It's like the early days. Imagine being able to buy Philip Morris when it just started. You'll see weed is going to be even bigger than tobacco. Okay, cool. Let me look at the income statement. Okay, no margins, no revenue, cool. Company's worthless. Let me give it a quarter. Next quarter comes out. Company's like, okay, yeah, revenue declined 5%. Like, what? Revenue declined? And they're like, yeah, we had to raise more money. We're running out of money. Demand is bleak. What kind of growth stock is this? And Tilray went from 17 to 250 to 1. Canopy, these were the leaders in the industry at the time. This was like the stocks people were obsessed with. And the weed bubble popped, and that was that. Weed stocks were now anathema. Oh, remember Sundial? Yo. What other big bubble stocks were there? SNDL, Tilray, Dries. Of course, I remember BTX, Aurora. Lays is today. I'm talking about in history. The history of baggy stocks. Lucid, Nikola. What's IGC? Oh, Peloton. What was Tops? I forgot Tops, but yeah, Tops, Beyond Meat, Plug. I don't know if BBBY. I'm talking about like parabolic up, parabolic down. Yeah, ESGMC, AMC. Parabolic up, parabolic down, like right away. Right up, right down. Fisker was a good one. I want to go way back, way back. WorldCom was not parabolic up and down. ISRG was parabolic up. CARVANA was parabolic up, down, and up again, which is a little weird. So I guess you can include it. If you go back to the, yeah, not DNA either. Well, DNA Ginkgo, yeah, because it was in Trexon. You guys aren't going back far enough. Rivian's for sure. Oh, DDD is a good one. Good job, Cheeky. Enron wasn't parabolic up, parabolic down. Delcath kind of counts, but not really. Just look at everything Cathie Wood bought. Oh yeah, actually we should do that. Bored Ape. Bored Ape. Yacht Club NFTs. Cable stocks in the 2000s? Maybe. There were better candidates in that era. Some of these weren't parabolic up. Like they had to attract the Robinhood type of baggies. What did all the Robinhood guys buy and own? WeWork never went parabolic up, but I guess I can use the private. If I use like the private market valuations, even like Instacart. What other like private companies? Theranos? Zoom kind of counts, I guess, just because, I mean, it's a real company. Oh, MoviePass was the thing. That was MoviePass. What was their ticker again? What else is like a Wall Street Bets thing that was like popular for a few days? Okay, guys. Okay, we got enough. We got enough. So what we're trying to do is see if we can get like a peak date. Bored Ape Yacht Club price over time. Peak day was, oh yeah, I guess you can look at the Wang stock squeezes, like the education edtech guys. I guess I could do it in ETH, right? The drawdown was 50%. Now, let's see how long it took to go down. 75%, that would have been 32. This is a power of 2, actually. 2 to the 6th, right? So when did it hit 32 or less? I wish I could use arrow keys here. Okay, 2703 on 7323. All right, so a little after a year, it dropped 75%. Let's see if we got a 90% drawdown. That would be 12.8. Can you imagine having bought this and people are like negging you like, oh, you don't own any NFTs? That's so cringe. This was like one of the biggest psyops ever because they would give the celebrities the Bored Apes, I think, for free. Some of them were dumb enough to buy them. And then the celebrities would be like, celebrities would try to make their bags go up. And of course, people aren't that stupid. What is this? Binance NFT marketplace? Do here is just sort of get a sense from how long does it take for the peak to drop to, all right, 336 on 10/3/08. Looks like it does take a little time for them to drop. People don't necessarily give up on their bubbles right away. So the question is, when did Tilray drop 75%? It hit exactly 53.52 on 4/11/19. So it takes like a year for them to drop 90%. Most people cover before that. I remember somebody pitching me Sundial in prison. They're like, I think it has really good prospects. I'm like, what? Bro, you know who you're talking to, bro? Okay, the absolute high here was 130, no pun intended, I guess. So first drawdown, this was rapid. Not all these are the same, I guess. This one was instant. It's like the great Hall of Fame of baggy history. Only took 55 days. The greatest bag holders of all time. The Bag Holder Hall of Fame. Now, Piggly Wiggly was the original cult stock. Cult stocks have been around since the 20s. Legendary bag holders. Bag Holder Hall of Fame. I took my whole paycheck, put it into AMC over and over again. I averaged down, hodling and hodling. Then it went down another 90%. I was long Sundial. I was long dry ships, Tilray, Nikola, just diversified. And Sundial was like kind of relatively recently. I do want to go see, like, do their baggies still believe in it? I hate it when my MMs suppress my shares for years and years and years. They have, do you know that they have shares locked away in the closet that they printed out and they never have to bring them back? They just laugh about it while you stay poor. They've got shares in the back. Here, I got some right here. Hold on. I printed out a whole bunch of shares. What do you got? AMC? Hold on. I got all these shares. AMC. These are the ledgers. You got your Sundial shares right here. I printed 10 million of those. I printed 10 billion AMC shares. 20 billion GME shares. No, it's like a tall tale or an old wives' tale for the stock market. It's like a conspiracy theory for the stock market. Why'd you lose all this money? Well, let me tell you a story. Did you know? All right, Nikola's a pretty good one. This one was pretty parabolic. High here, 23.91. What's crazy is there are all these every year. All right, Nikola took no time. Nikola took 41 days. That's the most rapid bag holder conversion ratio. 41 days to lose half your money. From peak to down 50%. That's baggy. How about down 75%? 90 days to lose 75% of your money. JDS Uniphase, SDL, those might work. Or some of those other optical networking stocks and some of those other chip stocks. KBio is like very, like, the downside came, it's just so weird. Make sure you sign up for Godel, guys. GodelTerminal.com. 2 rallies that failed at 1860. And you've seen lower lows since. The bounces off 1780 are there for sure. But it can break through that. It's 10 cents away from that. Rigetti has the mind of the retailer. But yeah, Qubit's a good short too. Qubit's a really good short. D-Wave and quantum sciences. The dream of every rich person is for people to think they're worth a lot less than they are. It'll be a while, Rose. It's gonna be a while. I'm very happy if Rigetti goes down 8% a day for the next month. Jimmy Carter's funeral will be held on Thursday, I believe. That will be a day off, so you lose a day of volatility. One of the things about trapped ion is that the ions are in this like linear conformation, right? So you have an ion, etc. I guess one question is, can you spatially orient them so that they go like this, and you get more of a matrix or cube, and then do this in 3 dimensions? Or do you need like space? And at what point do these lasers, you have a laser, but you also have, you can create like a deflector or a mirror that sits here and then refracts the laser, like, you know, as well to over here, you know, sort of controls, you know, all the ions. Or is it just, you know, not even about the interconnects yet, like connecting, you know, each unit to each unit for sure. But I think just simply managing all the states. No, use the superposition of the ions. Well, you're not trying to measure it, but yeah, I mean, the no pressure vacuum probably gets disturbed as you around with it, right? I'm familiar with that, Dan, but I guess what I'm more interested in is this idea that they could actually scale more easily within one unit. They can't keep the quantum state between two units. That's ridiculous. Yeah, they've had problems with trucks driving by collapsing the state. I shorted LAES a few minutes ago. Yeah, I didn't get the CARVANA short, but I didn't do much in the accounting. You know, I've never said short CARVANA. Yeah, the problem I had last time I looked at CARVANA with shorting CARVANA is that the growth is just really high. So why would you short something where the revenue growth is booming? But I'll take a second look. I'm not sure the AVXL, the JP Morgan thing is going to be a big catalyst, but I mean, I think it's a good short regardless. Yes, I'm still short IonQ. Well, when you're short, you got to make sure even the wildly optimistic possibility is still overvalued. When you have these huge bumps and then you look at their earnings, they don't do a conference call. It's just like, oh, we had 5 million in revenue or 2 million in revenue, and you know, 20 million bucks. That's not reassuring. The whole idea of a maker taker is if you're making liquidity, you're taking liquidity. So if you post a limit order, you should be able to trade for free. If you're taking liquidity away, you got to pay a trading fee, 10 basis points. I'm sorry, 10 basis points. Mils is what they call them, and they're just thousandths of a cent, millicents. I'm not sure the world needs all the H100s that we've kind of been convinced that we needed. I don't know, we've kind of been like LARPed into needing them. The way I like to think about discount rates is generally mostly through a relative lens. So I try to look at what other companies have either as an implied discount rate, because discount rates are kind of implicit. If you have the earnings of the company, you can see what the market's paying. So you know what the market's paying, you know what the discount rate is. So then you judge, well, is Microsoft riskier than Amazon? I think maybe about the same, but probably Microsoft's less risky. It's probably one of the least risky companies there is. Then you say, okay, is Datadog riskier than Intuit? Nah, Intuit's probably a lot less risky. Is Adobe less risky than Intuit? Maybe about the same, you know, and you just make changes based on 50 basis points or 1% depending. But, you know, valuation is less about just crunching numbers and saying, okay, the model revealed a bargain, I'm going to just buy it blindly. That's not really the way I do it. It may look like that, but that wouldn't lead to really good results. I think the model helps you think about what is required to see certain operating results from the company. Is it 30x more advanced, or is it 8x the chips? Yeah, earnings yield is, you know, pretty, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a summation. Whether you look at it via earnings yield or PE or whatever, you're sort of trying to do a summation one way or another. And the best way to do a summation is term by term. But if you want to do a summation a little less sophisticated, you can do that. Nothing wrong with that either. Just got to be aware of the pitfalls of doing a summation that way. Well, it depends. I mean, if you're delta neutral, the way you make money is on the adjustments between of the stock going up and down rapidly, both the common underlier and then the options you're trading. You can be long vol or short vol depending, but either way, you're sort of going to have to express an opinion on vol if you're not going to express an opinion on the direction of the underlier. I mean, my opinion of Avanex has not changed. Yeah, if nobody's short, then how's it going to squeeze? I don't think any hedge funds are still short GameStop. I think what you're talking about is a long squeeze, which is just a prayer of a mania or a bubble, which, unless they've actually turned the corner on their business or do an acquisition, it's hard to imagine it going up. I hope they do an acquisition. 65 billion of shorts. That's not that much. There's $10 trillion of stocks. The truthers about shorts, you think there's like secret shares that are in the dark pools, the fake shares. People hate buying premium. Some people love buying premium. Some people hate selling premium. Some people love selling premium. Some people love going all in. Some people hate going all in. Some people can stomach losses. Some people hate losses. You got to decide. You got to decide, homie. It's your choice. I don't run your portfolio. I don't press buy and sell. If I did, it would have 2 extra zeros next to it, but that's a whole other story. I like about 2 milli. I like about 2 milli.
Autofilled.
I'm talking about the right side of the decimal, not on the left. A little 2 milli, I like 2 milli. Yeah, King Era, I'm going to do some kind of tutorial again. I have to watch my old tutorials, see how I did them, to do the new tutorials.